Ha.Wa, and welcome back. Get ready to dive into the second part of my chat with the relative arts icons. We talk about our hopes and dreams of having native therapists and doctors in the near future. The ladies discuss their Oscars trip, curating the creativity lab at the MOMA, and Emme Studio, Korina's line, will be showing May 11th at Native Fashion Week in Santa Fe. They share their dreams of expanding relative arts beyond New York City. We finish the episode with my first listener letter. Okay, it was a text, but still. One of our gentle readers asked what I thought of the Pretendian List. We weigh in on all y'all's Cherokee Princess Grandmas. And spoiler alert, it's cringe, so please stop with that nonsense. When you are in New York City, you have to stop by Relative Arts. It's a vibe, and you will not be disappointed. So enjoy part 2, and we'll see you soon, cousins.
We formed a indigenous femme collective that was really focused on direct action. So we were in the streets.
Love.
Yeah. We were getting fucking maced, kettlebelled, doxed, fucking death threats, fucking shit. It was crazy.
Yeah, because you guys were doing... What were some of the... Explain what you guys were doing out on the streets.
We did a lot of like teach-ins.
Yeah, decolonial teach-ins.
Decolonial teach-ins. I would just talk about treaty rights and broken treaties in this area. Talked a lot about boarding schools. Just like at this age of, unrest. In the times that we've been living in through like the Black Lives Matter movement and like so many movements.
Yeah.
And
Wet'suwet'en solidarity, just like different like land movements and
sovereignty.
solidarity.
But there was like so much focus on like people would say like diversify your feed, right? Like learn more about other people. And so people were really, really interested in what we had to say, and we felt like we had a really like real responsibility to share this knowledge that like literally is never talked about in our school system because we're never talked about. People think that we're mythological, that
especially in New York City. Especially here, right? Liana, I have talked about this before about being in Oklahoma. We're surrounded kind of by nativeness.
Yeah, the sign says like "Welcome to Oklahoma, Native America."
Right. And
like,
just every all around us, the geography, everything is part of right. Yeah. And then in New York, it's like
bulldozed over. Yeah,
not that, and and understandably, first contact. The natives have been pushed out here. For a long time now, and that presence has just been gone, and especially in the textbooks, especially in schools. My daughter Luna, she's in high school, and last year in her 8th grade history, the subject was Western expansion, and she sent me a photo of her Google classroom slide, and it was the title card was "The End of the Plains Indians."
Holy shit!
And like to get that, you're like, I was at work or something, and I was just like,
burn it down.
I was like, oh my God. Well, she was like, girl. I was like, girl. I'm like, well, that's not true because we still fucking exist.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've gone through a bunch with her teachers, and she had like a really racist white asshole teacher that would like ask her like, how did you sleep in your teepee?
Oh my God.
Kids used to ask me that growing up.
I know, me too.
They'd be like, do you live in a teepee?
Yeah.
Like, no, we don't even
gosh.
have teepees.
Amy,
and you wish you could come to my longhouse, bitch.
Exactly. I'm like, actually, so yeah, I had to write a little email to the teacher and to the principal, and they're totally assholes and totally victim blamed Luna that she prompted the joke somehow, because I didn't know, unbeknownst to me, that he had been making these jokes all year long. And, you know, when you're like a 13-year-old kid, you're just trying to fucking fit in. You're the only fucking native indigenous person that is like, you know, there. And once someone tells you that, they just amplify that with like, you know. So the kids these days, it's like, oh, okay, you're native or whatever. So then you get this stereotype thrown at you, and then they find out like that, you know, her grandfather is from Iraq, so then they call her 9/11.
Oh my God.
So it's like amplified, so you're just kind of like, I'm gonna sink and just not be like anything. I just want to blend in. And I fucking get that. It's so sad, but I'm you know, I let her do her thing, but I definitely read the teacher down in my email.
Good.
And then the principal, they are trash. And so thank God the high school that she goes to now is way better. And
I am losing my fucking mind right now because I work in education as a historian. An outreach educator for the New York Historical, and I like teach like things like westward expansion and stuff like that. But I'm like, I wonder what the slide was, because like literally there are like documents and paintings that we teach with that like that's just like the title of them. They're like the last Indians or whatever, you know, because that's like what fucking people who were painting shit would name their shit. You know? So like I'm like, New York State curriculum. I should have brought my ass in there because
now that I know, I will be calling you, because any other time that happens, I told her, and she knows, but she also is kind of like, oh my God, my mom's gonna like go off. But I think she's like ready for it. It's
it's like so hard on kids to take on that kind of responsibility.
And this man is saying this in front of other people who, you know, a lot of times we're based on these fucking stereotypes, and you're enforcing a stereotype by saying, you know, how was your teepee? How was your, you know, it's like you're a teacher. You're doing the opposite of what you're supposed to be doing, and you're teaching a culture that's so based on stereotypes so often. And these white people don't care. These white men don't fucking care, you know? Like, and that's what's the sad part about just public education in general is that, you know, that's how white supremacy is upheld. You see it, and it's so dark to think of it like that. But as a parent, I see it, and I'm okay, cool. That's why we need more teachers. Even though, you know, my daughter's like loves kids and would love to do that, but she's a fucking realist. She's like, but you make like no money, and it's like, I'm like,
girl, get museum education.
Right.
I think we make
museum education.
We do okay,
and you can work outside of the critical race theory, whatever rules,
and she's so great. She's a great writer, and all that, you know, I'm letting her do her thing. Right now she's leaning into like, she's like, I think I might want to be a lawyer. I'm like, okay,
beautiful. We need that. We need that too.
Lawyers.
We need lawyers. We need therapists.
Yes.
We need therapists.
Doctors.
For
just
real.
In general, I want our IHS staffed up with doctors that are actually indigenous. I am so sick. Sorry, I am on a new soapbox.
I love it.
Switch.
Please talk about it. It's so important.
I am thinking like, oh my gosh, just like, what the fuck? How come our IHS, like, few and far between, especially here in New York. Thank you, New York Indian Council, for like showing up and all of a sudden like kind of filling that space here. But how come my ass has to fly to Oklahoma to get anything done, get my crazy pills re-upped, which I need so that I don't
You have to fly home for this? No.
Yeah, because my ass doesn't have insurance, because part of having a sugar daddy and being married is like, even though I'm so poor, but he does okay enough that like it makes me not poor enough, even though I personally am poor, and he is taking care of two of us, like my broke ass. So anyway, I end up going home a lot for my medical care, but like, why are all the doctors white there? And why don't we have programs where we are training and like putting indigenous people through like STEM and like med school to like be the caretakers of our community, instead of it being an opportunity for white people to, you know, get some money off of their tuition or whatever for volunteering in our communities.
Yes.
Like, get out of here with
white
that.
saviorism.
Yes.
Yo.
And the tribes too. I know we have some incentives for STEM. where programs for kids to like get into that, because that is truly what we need. Can you imagine being able to talk to a therapist that kind of already gets the gist of, okay, my mom was raised in a boarding school. My mom had this abuse suffered from, her mother, now I'm the first generation from that. And then I'm trying to focus, my DNA that has like,
right.
Downloaded all of her trauma, and now I have Luna, and I'm trying, so like,
if I'm going to be paying $300 a session, let it go to an Indigenous person,
please.
And let me not have to spend my first like 4 sessions like giving you my like backstory of trauma and like
explanation of like
what it means.
Why we're here, right? Why I'm fucking here right now, and so. If you can do a kids therapy, I would love that. It'd be amazing.
Right? Yeah.
More Indigenous therapists.
Okay, sorry, I'm like not to hijack this, but
no, please.
I wanted to ask you a question, Amy, because I'm taking kind of a survey, and you were starting to ask me about like my experience growing up in Oklahoma.
Yes,
but did you have the special trauma built into your years every year in April, I believe, going to school in Oklahoma with the land run days? Where they would like
no.
Oh my gosh! What?
Explain what that means.
No. Okay. So explain what that means, and I'll tell you why.
So Oklahoma was like as becoming a state. First, it was Indian territory, and then it kind of gained statehood through the land being taken through a land rush. Like a bill, like pew pew, shoot the gun, and like go and stake your claim. I believe the date is like April 21st, whatever year. And we would, growing up at, going through elementary and middle school, we would have, that day would be a day at the park where we would get to go out of school, we'd get to go to the park, and we would do a mock land run.
Wait, I have literally never
You
heard
never
of
had
this.
to do that? Oh my God. I was talking to Yannicka about it, actually.
Well, I'm sure, right?
Yannicka and Liana
Stillwater.
are like family friends.
We're Stillwater people. So he's like, old family friend. And then we recently reconnect, just like over the last few years since we've been out here, and we're, movers and shakers, and we're like cross paths again. So we had a really lovely coffee date a few years ago where we were just like, just like, what's like, like, what do you think about growing up in Oklahoma? But like all of a sudden we're like hella native, but like back then we were just like, don't pick on me.
Like you like you like just try and fit in.
Yeah.
Like
the land run, is that specific to Stillwater?
That is it. Our like little tagline is where Oklahoma began. That is because that is like where it like happened, and like that's the whole.
And like OSU is very like the Cowboys.
We're the Cowboys,
like, we're kind
and
of the
OU's the Sooners.
Is like, and also I feel like OU is more like the Indian school.
But the Sooners are literally the cheaters of the land run.
Yes, I mean the Sooner, the whole mascot and the emblem and all that shit doesn't. Yeah, but I feel like you kind of in the state, it's kind of like the Indians kind of go to OU, the Cowboys go to OSU.
Yeah,
but,
we're like very much an ag school.
Yeah,
we've got like farm sciences and shit like that. 5-H. Is that what it's called? 4-H?
4-H.
4-H. One of those numbers of H's.
4-H, yes.
I was not a part of that.
Oh my God, Land Run Day is wild.
But yeah, it was crazy. So like I'm always like surveying people who went to like,
so they
mostly was grade school, I feel like.
So they shoot a gun and they're like, okay, run to like the slide and colonize it?
Yeah, it was
claim it yours.
It was I remember it being like essentially like an Easter egg hunt. Where it was kind of like, just like pew pew, and then like go, and like maybe instead of it be like giving you like a little stake, that it was probably just like go and find a like egg, and then like that's like your
you own Owasso, or like
exactly, yeah.
Wow,
lucky you get Ada, Oklahoma. Like,
so see what happens in Oklahoma, guys. Like, do they still do this?
I believe so, because like I've heard like my
what?
I've been
how?
Yeah, I know it's crazy because Oklahoma, they're so fucking gung ho about all of it. I mean, like
Oklahoma
Stillwater,
do better.
where Eskimo Joe's is from.
Yeah, you know what?
If you want to talk about mascots,
fabric in my life. Eskimo Joe's is like this huge thing, and it's based in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and Yeah. You know what? You saying Eskimo Joe's to me, because I don't hear that. I've never heard that in New York by anybody else until this moment right now. It is so wild to hear you say that name back to me because, yeah, it's called Eskimo Joe's and the fucking
like mascot
is an Eskimo with a dog.
With a dog, yeah.
Oh my God.
And like a stereotypical kind of drawing,
but
rendering.
like like it's very racist, like teeth, grin,
Jeez,
squinty eyes, super fucking nuts. And then like they have like a whole thing because
what
like
is it? I don't know what it is.
it's like a burger joint.
Yeah.
But they also have like t-shirts and there's like Joe's Clothes is like a whole other thing, and they like have anniversary teas, and they like they expand. They don't just have Eskimo Joe's. That's like a burger joint, and they're like famous for their cheese fries.
Yeah.
But there's Mexico Joe's. And
God.
there was also Giuseppe's.
Stop. So funny.
There's been like a huge
branding geniuses,
right?
Like racist, horrible branding, but like the clothes, the shirts, like
Stan
when you were
Clark.
young,
That's his name, right?
You literally were like, "Oh my God, I want this shirt."
Yeah,
like,
I got to go get the 21st anniversary.
It's
like, what are they going to design this year?
Like branding
the cups
and the cups, everything,
every keg. Every like first game of beer pong I ever played
just,
was
opening
like all
your
of those cups.
cupboard at home is like all these like plastic Eskimo Joe's cups, and
so
different
funny.
colors. Like I want the pink one. Like like racist branding geniuses.
Yeah.
Like,
also, like I think like owns like half of OSU. Like it's like crazy.
Very
like
that.
Like
very
the
that.
whole town.
They probably sponsor Land
like,
Run Day.
Probably. Yeah. This family and this franchise has like a chokehold on like it's like between Oklahoma State University and like the Eskimo Joe's franchise. Like that is what runs the town that I grew up in.
Yeah.
Wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God. We have to stop that. How can we stop that in Oklahoma?
I've signed the petition.
Wow.
But I think it's
money.
It's like so divided too, because it's like
the white people love it.
They love it.
Oh,
it's like their identity. They have the big float.
That's
like,
their thing.
Yeah, because we've got like at OSU we have oh my gosh,
it's like the Italian people here with the Columbus Day.
They're
like they're like,
give us
that's
that.
our fucking thing.
That's why like New York won't recognize Indigenous Peoples Day, because if we have like fucking Cuomo in office, who are like these diehard Italian dudes, are like, but it's like, Columbus, really, that's who you want?
That's who you guys want.
Really?
I know.
Like,
they do.
pick someone else.
I mean, you don't care about all the fucked up shit he did. Like, you people are, and they're just, I've come to realize with everything going on in Gaza, that, there are just evil people that don't care about other children, women, people at all. Like, they really don't. No. Like, when, again, going back to being punk rock, it's like that realization of like, there's really darkness in the world. And people really don't care about other people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of us, it's so, and money rules, cash rules everything around us, unfortunately.
Yeah. That's
true. Okay. So Korina, where were we? You're Smithsonian. You guys met at the Talking Circle.
Yeah.
Yes.
You guys were involved in all this amazing activism. And that was at that time too in New York was this beautiful momentum of like the statue at Columbus Circle. Like, do people know like that this man did this?
There's also like the timing was really huge with like George Floyd and stuff like that. There was like kind of this like next wave of uprisings that were happening while we were organizing in that way.
Yeah, I mean, and that was also, people were ready to get out on the streets after George Floyd, as a result. And then you guys, we got into also the missing and murdered Indigenous women, which you guys were really big into and still are. Yeah. So you guys have just been making the world a better place for a really long time. So thank you, and you still are. What do you guys think about how people perceive Native people?
Yeah, I think about that a lot. Like one of our missions with Relative Arts is to combat the idea that we only exist in a historical context, that people are here now working now, and that contemporary Indigenous work is being made, and that it doesn't have to always just be pandering to like a white buyer. Like our store is very much for Indigenous people to come shop and support Indigenous people. We're not doing it for a white gaze or for somebody else's, idea of what it should be. But, people continue to think that natives, even in, like, let's just simply talk about the States, right? Like, North American Indigenous people, like, we're a monolith. Like, people think that, like, we all speak the same language, or we all eat the same food, or we all do this shit, or whatever. We all live in a fucking teepee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, like, there's over, like, 560 federally recognized tribes. Realistically, there's over like 700 tribes, and that's only in the States. Like, we're not even talking about Canada, Central, South America. And like, so it's just crazy that we've been lumped into one kind of reason. I mean, like, I often think, even in the conversation of like, do you prefer Native American? Do you prefer Indigenous? I'm like, it would be cool if people call me by my tribe. Like, that's what I am. But like, if people are like, oh, she's Puyallup, like, but it'll take a while for that language to maybe enter. Most people don't even know how to say it.
Yeah.
Pew all up. Anyway, but so that's something that we really try to combat at the store, and have representation from all over the place. We don't let borders define our representation of indigeneity.
Yes.
Like, I'm from the north. I'm Coast Salish. Coast Salish spans way beyond the border between the States and Canada.
Yes.
It doesn't separate us as a people. Like same with like Central and South America. But we just want to have like this greater representation of what it means, and then that way we can learn about each other, like culturally. One thing that's important, I believe, for like a lot of people to do is like leave your homelands, learn as much as you can about wherever you go, and then you bring that knowledge back. And like, that's kind of like a traditional life path. And we would do that, you'd send people out to neighboring places to go learn languages. And so then you can communicate better. You can do all this stuff to like grow your community, your trade routes, your all this shit. Like, and New York, Manhattan has always been trading grounds since time immemorial. Like, and it's all about like the way you adorn yourself is like who you are, where you've been, and who you know. And like, that's all representative of like telling your story through your adornments, through your clothing.
Yeah. And a lot of our regalia also tell that story of like who we were in contact with at that time, and what
the Copenhagen lids,
like
that, like that's
the German silver, like in our tribe,
the kukum scarves, from Ukraine, so many cultural indicators about who you are, and like and that's one thing I really love about relative arts is like that old school trading ground vibe, where like you can come and meet all different Indigenous people and support and uplift all different Indigenous people, because we are not the same, but we are all relatives.
Yes. Soundbite.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys went to the Oscars. Relative Arts went to the Oscars, and you designed a dress.
Yes.
How was your Oscars experience? And tell me, did you make the dress here, or did you make it like in your hotel room at the Oscars or somewhere?
LOL.
Okay, so
I'm like, wait, Korina's at the Oscars, and then it was like, this dress you just fucking made. Like, what the hell? Like, that's incredible. Tell me about your Oscars moment.
Yeah, so we're super lucky to be good friends with Magdalena Abrego and Malio Bomswin. Malio Bomswin is an incredible composer, musician, bassist, like fucking phenomenal. And she did the score for Sugarcane by Julian Noisecat, which was nominated for a feature documentary Oscar.
Yes. Which, if you've not seen Sugarcane, watch it. It's incredibly painful, but incredibly beautiful at the same time, and very important to watch. Oh my God, heart-wrenchingly good. But yeah.
They do it in a good like native way too, where there's some like tinges of comedic relief because if we don't laugh, we'll go crazy. But
but the music and the soundtrack,
beautiful film.
It stood out for me while watching it. Too. Okay. So
I like we often say like pretty much every Native person has had a family member at a boarding school, like it's a legacy of assimilation. But so when we were in a group chat, Molly texted us like, "Yo, we just got nominated for an Oscar," and I was like, "I'm making your dress, like right away." So we were like, "We'll help style you, we'll help pull everything, we'll contact jewelry designers, we got you, like don't worry, we got you." So we started doing sketches, going back and forth about this idea, and then the thing that I insisted upon was that she wear orange, because orange is a color to raise awareness for children of people who are affected by boarding schools, and no more stolen children, and so Orange Shirt Day is like a really big deal, and especially in communities in the North. We decided on doing orange. I ended up, we got our tickets to LA. I ended up cutting and sewing the dress the night before my flight.
Okay.
And
did you have a fitting with her? Was she here in New York?
No, I had her measurements.
Okay.
And
you are so talented.
But I know I'm a psycho because I really do like wait until the very last minute to do anything. But yeah, so I stayed up all night before my flight just doing her dress. At the very last minute decided I'm going to make 2 dresses.
Fun, cool.
Why not?
Yeah.
So we got into LA and I immediately went to work. Thankfully, like one of my best friends, Jessica Fuller, is a costume designer in LA. So I got to just work from her apartment. And like borrowed a machine from my friend Spencer, and like
had to go to Mood.
Had to go to Mood in LA
because you were a little bit short.
Material.
Yes,
and thank God they had what I needed.
It was a whirlwind. Iconic Moods. I love you so much.
It was a whirlwind. So basically, we met up at Molly's hotel, and Julian's family and everybody were staying in this hotel. It was really Amber Morningstar, like just an amazing crew.
So cool.
And so we did the fitting. I did all the alterations in her hotel room. We picked her shoes. We brought her jewelry, and it was basically just consulted with her for her outfit. And the morning of the Oscars, I wasn't 100% sure yet what she was going to wear, because she had 2 options, and I was like,
and you finished them both like within time.
Well, one of them was not mine, so I made her 2 dresses. Okay. She picked one, and then another stylist had dropped off another dress as an option, and I was like, you better wear this orange one, because it's like it's like makes a statement and it looks so good, and so she ended up wearing it. We woke up in the morning, checked social media. Sure enough, she's got the dress on, and we were so excited. And
she looked gorgeous.
She's just amazing, like talented, beautiful, like so cool, like. So it was like truly an honor, to get to be a part of that, and. We got all dressed up and watched the Oscars from the hotel room.
Her like Beverly Hills hotel room,
90210 hotel room.
Exactly,
because we moving on up.
Because we actually did not go to the Oscars.
Yeah, we didn't go.
That's not how it works.
We were at the hotel.
That's how it works. Welcome to glam. That's what we do. We get everyone ready for the Met Ball, and then we just sit back and eat polenta fries at the Bowery Hotel. And
watch
the madness unfold. And it's that's so fun. That was, again, community, showing up for community and making this dress on the whim and going out there to support someone. And just these, it is crazy, but it's true. These are the first time things that are happening for us as people. Yeah. That was the first Indigenous director to be nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a big deal and well earned.
It felt so important to mob out like that too. Like we can't be just sending them out on their own. Like we need to like all be there to be all, hey, you know?
That's what I love about that's what I love about all that, of us being in those spaces, hearing us in the crowd clapping and luluing and
bro, like literally like what with Res Dogs on the Emmy stage, speaking your language, Liana.
Speaking my language,
like that. That is like wow, like how amazing is that?
Yes.
And Paulina was wearing one of my outfits. That same.
Oh my god, I love that. The suit, right?
She was wearing like the painterly suit. She's worn a few of my pieces, and so is Devry, and I'm very, very lucky.
So that was really beautiful to be able to be part of that, and just, you know, like we got to like go experience eating at a diner afterwards and all the kind of like come down that happens after
we
the
were like,
Oscars.
Molly, what do you want to do? She's like, I want to put on jeans and get a burger.
And go to a diner. That's what you're supposed to do, right?
Yes.
But also just like to be there and bear witness to this moment where, you know, spoiler alert, Sugarcane did not win, but they were beat out by No Other Land, which is the only answer. That was the only acceptable loss.
Literally.
You know?
I was like, I was so bummed, but I was also not, because I'm like, this is so important as well.
Yeah. So just like to, I don't know, for that, to be able to be there and bear witness to that moment. And then like, I mean, like, it's crazy to even just be like a degree separated from like Molly and Amber and everyone like smoking cigs with the directors, you know, afterwards. And then like, fucking 2 weeks later, like one was fucking abducted, you know, and like it's just like this. It's
and it's like, wow,
also
like
just
Molly was standing with him, like that's how real this shit is.
It's such a like
terrifying,
just reality check of like how you can win all the accolades, you can design the thing, you can be on the Oscar stage, you can like whatever, be out there and be recognized, but like
it's neutralized. Like you could just be somewhere at the wrong place at the wrong time. It doesn't matter who the fuck you are,
or like
or they'll just
just not protected. They're intentionally
people of
coming.
color, like not fucking protected.
It doesn't fucking matter. They can like, you can be on the Academy Award stage and just get stolen like on camera, you know, like it, like.
That's where we're at right now.
That's where we're at. Is people
horrifying.
Just getting like scooped and disappeared, and like nothing, no amount of like even like visibility. I feel like so often we're talking about like representation and visibility and stuff, and like, you know, like that's gonna save us, but like no, they're gonna do it right in front of everyone's faces. That's how this is playing out.
And
they can, they will, they are.
They are.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for sharing your Oscars story. Do you have any advice for creatives wanting to move to New York City?
Oh, you know, like one thing I think often is like my idea of what I originally thought success looked like compared to what success I have is extremely different. And like, and coming to terms with understanding that you cannot follow somebody else's path. Your path is your path, and that makes you who you are, and that is what gives you authenticity and being genuine. And like, I can tell you this or that, or you should do this or you should do that, but like what you should do is like stand in your power. Your power is what's going to move you through. Don't look at what other people are doing. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. Do what you need to do to make yourself feel good, to make your work read as yours. And the best piece of advice I ever received was find a platform you can stand on that nobody can push you off of. And that is being in a place where, you know, like when I was a kid, like, oh, I want to be like Vivienne Westwood. I want to be Alexander McQueen. I'm not fucking British, bro. You know? Like, it wasn't until I really was like, no, like, you got to be you and be proud of who you are. Because growing up, I never saw Indigenous designers in magazines, so I didn't think that was an option.
Yep.
And now it's like, well, we paved that path. You know what I mean? And now it is just shit. Like a ton of fucking designers are showing on runways now. Indigenous designers. Like, it is happening. Like, we made it happen.
It's happening.
Yes. And like, but like, that's what you got to do. Like, if you don't see it, go be it.
Yes.
Like, but like, do it your way. Nobody can tell you. Do what feels right. you know? And like even Relative Arts, like yeah, it's a dream to have this store, but like we didn't plan it, you know? It came together.
We
through
certainly
the life that we've
don't
lived.
make money from it.
We don't have
We are
money.
not successful in any
You can get by. You can
monetary
get by
sense.
without money. You know, I mean, not what. It's so complicated.
It is money.
Look,
is
you guys,
so
there's
fucking
options.
complicated.
There's a lot of money in New York City. You got to
If you
kind of
can
figure
get
out how to
it,
get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No shade. Do what you
Relative
got to do.
arts is not monetarily successful, but in the other sense, you guys are stars in our community. But on that note, you guys, if you come to New York, support Relative Arts, buy some shit, buy some amazing shit, buy some gorgeous things from Relative Arts, which leads into my next question, because will you ever sell online?
Yeah. Well, one
People
thing I
love
want
to
to
know.
express is like, so at Relative, we work on a consignment model. And we do 70% of the sale goes to the artist, and 30% goes back into the shop. And like Liana says, to pay the rent, keep the lights on.
Of course.
We personally don't get paid anything, so we kind of both have like some side gigs. But when we do invite people to come here, like you're literally supporting Indigenous artists. Like you're not supporting rent in New York City. You know, like you are 70% of that sale is going to the artist. The artists set their own prices. So that's super important.
I mean, yeah, as far as being able to put stuff online, like, you know, we've got like a little drop ship bonfire where you can get some original t-shirt designs that are not available in store. But we've continued to like revisit this conversation and this idea of whether or not we would ever be able to like feasibly, realistically have an online shop. But so many of our products are like one of a kind, handmade, and like they're there until someone snatches it up and then it's gone, right? So like, and because we are such a community space, I think that there's like a lot of value in being able to actually come and visit the physical space, because it's like so much more than like the item that you take away from it. It's like being able to actually come and engage and you know, maybe even meet the designer, because like so many of our designers are hyper local. They'll like be in there working away or polishing or bringing in a new item. Or
we have like designers based in New York who are Dinesh, Shinnecock, Nusavi from Oaxaca. But yes, like even just the variety of Paiutes, Apache, but like the variety of Indigenous representation of people who live in New York. And create here is like very vast.
Yes, so vast. And you carry, I mean, you carry pretty much everyone in that I know of that's Indigenous and styling or a fashion designer. Is there anyone that you know that doesn't sell in your shop, or that you would like to sell in your shop?
Yeah, I mean that, you know, that goes back to like the list of designers and talent and amazing work is endless. But we do have some certain stipulations and missions that I really am more attracted to pulling work that's upcycled, pulling work that is sustainable, pulling work that's handmade. I'm not really attracted to. This goes into a debatable conversation about, I call them pop designs, prints on polyester, which is a very, very
it's a hot topic.
I just saw that poll.
Topic.
Wait a minute.
It is a hot topic. And
okay.
I've always called it pop. Oh, pop, prints on polyester. Oh, you want the same cut dress from like 20 different designers with their different graphic designs? Are you a fashion designer or are you a print designer?
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it because I make everything with my two hands.
Yeah.
Like, and that's where I'm coming from as a designer.
Because you're
that's
a
my
real
point of view.
designer. Because there are people that are like, you know, even in New York, like brands that I've worked with before that are these really cool kids. Their aesthetic is that they call it creative directors of a brand. Mm-hmm. They're not designers, or they know like, okay, I want to put this graphic on it, da 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 da.
Yeah.
Like, that's not fashion design.
Right.
Right. You're an actual fashion designer. So I love hearing this from you because this has been a thing that's been going on with social media. If you don't know, there was on Indigenous TV, reposted a quote from Scott Wabano, who I love. And
we were DMing last night.
Okay, because I was kikiing. So there was a quote that Indigenous TV reposted of Scott Wabano saying, you know, and I don't know the exact quote, but basically is saying, I'm so tired of people printing beaded
and
things
calling it couture.
And calling it couture,
on polyester and calling it couture.
Yeah.
Because it is not couture. As someone who's been in fashion and has worked with couture, that is not called couture. So I don't know if someone called it couture. I didn't go back to see if he was talking about someone specific, but I loved the tea that I was getting, and then it got messy.
Oh yeah, it's a little mad. People are opinionated.
People are opinionated, and you know, don't buy it if you don't like it, and you know, it started attacking him on his designs and how he chose to use his prints.
But that's another thing too. Is like that's what we literally are learning as we're going through.
Yeah.
Like I've done like working in all leather. Like would I do that now? No, it's not sustainable. But I learned that from doing that. Like even if like, you know, so somebody's getting shaded for doing this one thing. Well, they're not based their entire career on it. They tried it. They were like, this isn't the path I want to go down. Now I can be critical of it. And that's fine. That's totally fine. We're all here to learn.
Yes.
But we can also have a freaking opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah. What were we, I forget.
Like, what is like, well, there's no ethical consumption under capitalism.
Under late stage capitalism.
And, so as another very nuanced conversation, you guys, there is not a single solution. We are on a spectrum. Everything's a fucking spectrum. Your fucking gender, your sexuality, your identity, everything is a spectrum. Your opinions, all of it.
Okay, well, you guys, before we end out, I wanted to ask you a question, just one more relative arts question. Do you have any goals for relative arts in the future?
Yes. Liana's like, we do? Oh, no,
of course you do. Of course you do.
One thing that we don't have any like hard and fast goals. We're kind of still learning like what our path is here, but one thing that we've been surprised to really do branching out is working in a lot of like outreach curatorial spaces. So we're currently curating the creativity lab at the MOMA.
I just saw that. That's amazing.
For the Woven Histories exhibit that is running from April to September, and our programming starts in June.
Yeah, June to September.
And we're doing a lot of like Indigenous artist spotlights and demos and workshops. The schedule will come out soon, so make sure you're following us on Instagram at Relative Arts NYC. And then, you know, we curated a show at La Mama. We are just in our short term, we're on our way to Santa Fe in May. So we are doing Native Fashion Week Santa Fe with Amber Dawn. No major opinion about either or. There's space for all Indigenous designers and all Indigenous runway shows. You guys, let's go. Let's build each other up, not tear each other down.
Yes.
Let's fucking go.
So Emme Studio will be showing at Native Fashion
Week Santa Fe. Yes, May 11th.
Love.
May 11th, Sunday. And Relative Arts will also be there doing a 3-day pop-up at the Rail Yard. So, you know, we do like to do a lot of travel. We've done a few pop-ups here and there. And one thing that we've learned from that is that there is a need for this kind of model all over the place.
Yes.
So we were like, shit, dude, like maybe we should open up a fucking Relative Arts Tulsa.
Yes.
Maybe we should open up a Relative Arts Portland.
Yes.
Maybe we should open a Relative Arts LA.
Yes.
Like, and every single store will have its own merchandise from the people in that neighborhood, who the managers who are running the stores know, who their friends are. Yeah. So like every place will have its own authenticity and its own vibe, and it won't feel like sterile or corporate or anything like that. But like, in our heads right now, it's like, it's not like we're working towards it, but we're at the place where we're like, wouldn't it be cool?
Oh,
wouldn't it be cool if
I
that was
love that. Yeah. I love it. RA, Relative Arts Tulsa. I love it. Relative Arts Santa Fe.
Yeah.
Love that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because the community, and, it would have to, what your love and your soul that you've put into the New York store has to travel with that anywhere it goes. And I know sometimes that's the hard part, right? Is keeping your culture, your identity of like what you guys built here. In the same vein, if you go to city, but that's a beautiful goal. I would love to see that.
Yeah,
people need that. Yeah. People would love that. Also, too, having just a queer space, indigenous space where everyone is welcome, is so needed in Indian country, all over. So I love that. I want that. I love that manifestation. You're putting it out. It's said. It's happening.
Totally.
So,
I love that.
It's tough, but we're trucking along. We just hit 2 years, which is a really big deal, honestly, like in a business in New York. And and we wouldn't have anything that we have without the community that we have here.
We are nothing without our community.
Nothing without the community. And Liana says, we are what the community needs us to be.
Yeah, at any given point. That's what we are.
Oh, you guys are just amazing. And I like you guys. This is like makes my heart so happy that you exist, that people like you exist, because it's the balance of those dark, evil people we were talking about earlier. You are the light that help so many, whether you know it or not. Like, to think of you as a kid growing up, if they had a place like RA around where you were at.
Yeah, for real.
Oh my God. Like it's amazing. Okay, guys. So I got my first, I'm going to call it a listener letter, but it was a text, which you guys can text on the Apple Podcast. I know for sure. I'm sure on the other platforms too. You can text me a question. So I got a question. I got text. What are your thoughts on the Pretendian List?
Dun, dun, dun.
Ooh, this is a lot. Whoever texted this is a lot.
Yes.
And so there's a lot that goes into this. So if you don't know the Pretendian List, and you guys can totally jump in at any moment, the Pretendian List was created by Jacqueline Keeler. I think of it as it's giving Mean Girls Burn book. Yeah. Sometimes it was basically a spreadsheet where she put names and did some kind of research to out people who were fake Indians, or they said that they had Indian ancestry, and a lot of times they did have Indian ancestry or Native ancestry. And there were a few cases that they didn't. And my point is, I love the Pretendians that were in academia that were getting paid, and they were not Indigenous. That I 100% agree. Get those people out them. There are people, qualified Indigenous people, that should be in those paying jobs in academia, teaching and spreading culture and the wisdom and knowledge. The other side of it is the burn book aesthetic of it all, of naming people that you don't like. Maybe she had a bad day, or someone said something weird, or didn't pay her enough attention. I found that she was adding names to a list because she was, emotional. And that I don't like. And I don't like bullies. I don't like people that Twitter, you have her followers, her fans that were going after people and bullying them online, cyberbullying people, and with not scientific research facts, not going back to the tribes that you're trying to debunk, and just asking them, because wouldn't they know if, she famously outed Sasheen Littlefeather, which that is also, there was someone else from another community that was like, came out after her sisters were like, oh yeah, no, we weren't Native, and was like, no, actually her family was like, so it's messy. It's very messy. And then also Elizabeth Hoover, which was the person in academia who was, you know, making money, and she's still, I think, a teacher or a dean or something at some school, that she was outed, and that her story is interesting. Elizabeth Hoover, she was told her whole life she was this and that, and grew up dancing, and you can read about all of that. So academia, 100%, I get those people. Making a list of people that didn't pay you enough attention, I don't agree with that. And spreading just false narratives about Natives we don't need that at all. But I will have to say, you are a stunt queen, and I love that you are a stunt queen, and you got your likes and you got your clicks. There's that part of it, right?
We all know your name.
We know your name,
true.
and that's
so.
And we're talking about you, so we're queen. But Pretendians are a wild concept within our communities. We definitely have come into contact with some of them, and where it shook me to my core. But what are your guys' thoughts on this? Sorry, I kind of went off. I was like, wait, I gotta say something.
Say it.
What are you guys' thoughts on the Pretendian List?
Oh my God, so many thoughts. This is another super nuanced conversation.
I know, right? I mean, I feel like we don't need to invite any type of policing into our communities and identities. And I don't recall anyone, asking to have this identity detective.
She created her own role.
Just created her own role, her own department, stunt queen. So, agreed when there are people who are, taking up space and resources that, are for an identity and an experience that's not your own lived one, then that should be not happening. But I also have so much trust in our own communities to know who our people are.
Yeah.
And I think it's okay for people who are reconnecting or something to slow your roll.
Yeah,
and that's it takes time to be a part of a community. And so, I just think that the way that this list is really, it's quite violent and harmful.
Yeah. And
it doesn't I would much rather see, if she's so good at do this genealogy and lineage and stuff, do it in a helpful way to create positivity, because people be unable to access the documents that, tell their stories
so much
and stuff.
With, unenrolled people, right? I got my sacred laminate card. We got our cards.
Me too.
I'm not enrolled.
Exactly. Yeah. So there are the way society, colonialism has played out with our ancestors. Not everyone has that same story because of that.
Yeah.
Our people had to do things to protect themselves, to protect their families, to make decisions based on, on many different factors.
Right.
So there's unenrolled people. You're unenrolled, and you are indigenous.
Yeah.
You have ancestry. You can, back home in Oklahoma, what's your family, right?
We ask.
You
everywhere.
ask. Yeah.
That's what, and we all. It's so funny because a lot of us have fucking Scottish names.
Yeah, we're McIntoshes.
Everyone's
we got a McIntosh
who's your
County.
family? My family are the McLeods.
Yeah.
Everyone's in my club. Well, we're MC Leots.
Yeah.
And then there's MCC LOUDs.
Yeah. So like your grandma and then you get back like your clans, and there's ways of how we figure out if someone says, "Oh, you're Osage." Okay, I can say, "Oh, what district are you from?" or "What's your family name?"
Right. Totally.
You know?
Yeah.
So there's that way of, you know, fact checking or whatever. But and then if you really wanted to, it's hard because even going back to the tribe is its own thing too. Like in your case, you know, but in certain tribes they don't even have like the cards, the blood quantums and the stuff like that. There's
And
certain tribes that don't have
every
that.
blood quantum is different from tribe to tribe.
Yeah.
And also, if you don't know, blood quantum is so colonial and based on the erasure of our blood. So if, you know, basically the government was like, okay, cool. If we can dwindle down the blood quantum to like your half, your quarter, your eighth, your 16th to be eventually nothing. So you can't even enroll. And so that's how they can stop Native Americans from being existing.
Genocidal tactic.
Existing in the Americas.
We're on par with what, like dogs and horses?
Dogs and horses.
Yeah.
Also have blood quantums.
And that's
for
why
people that
like,
don't know, we have a card that has our blood quantum, and that is from that.
You're also not allowed to be enrolled with multiple tribes.
Right.
And like myself, like my mom is enrolled Wichita, but like I don't meet the quantum for that, so I'm enrolled Creek.
Yeah.
But like my mom's also Creek, but she chose to enroll Wichita.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, just like, you know, there's also, we've got Cherokee up in there, and like, so it's, you know, being able to hold all of these identities and just like for someone to come in and police us, and also just like for there to be this list that like puts people like, I don't know, like Elizabeth Warren, you know, and on the same list as like someone who like actually does the fucking work and just like because of these colonial systems like can't obtain status or enrollment is just like fucking lazy, gross, and insulting.
Yes.
I don't know. It's just like don't conflate people with genuine like connection to community who might not you know, be able to satisfy this one individual's understanding of like what, who, like how do you even know about all these different tribes and all the families?
And she
like,
doesn't.
Bitch, I can go on Ancestry.com too. That shit's owned by Mormons.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes.
Like,
but they really be keeping track.
Any Pretendian takes from you, my dear?
Yeah. I mean,
how does it feel? Having were you on the list at one time?
That's what I heard. So
okay.
So the first thing was after Project Runway, because I went on national TV and said that I'm Puyallup. An article came out that I was not in fact enrolled in the tribe and that I was faking it. And I was just like, just because I'm not enrolled doesn't mean I'm faking it. And they never contacted me to speak with me or my dad. Because that's another thing people do not realize is that they think you're attacking you as an individual. When people are attacking you, you're attacking my whole fucking family.
Hello.
Yeah.
Like, so this article came out and my dad was the first one to comment. And he's like, our family is from the most successful assimilation school in Washington State. Like, fuck you guys. Like, you're just looking for a perch to preach from. Like, went in. And it was like, because they never called me or my family to say like, oh, hey, like, what's your story?
Yeah.
Like, what's your story? They never, so then that was like defaming right away.
This is also part of why this list is so bad too, because this is happening to so many people like you.
Yeah.
Like putting these little hot takes
and
out.
It's like,
for
literally
clicks.
like check 2 generations, bro. It's not that hard to find.
Yes.
Like as North American Indigenous people, we have paperwork. And I think about that a lot when it comes to South American Indigenous people, where they've been so systemically erased because they don't have the same kind of proof that we have.
Right.
I think about that a lot, but it's just such an interesting thing. So So that was super whack, but it's also like, well, I am mixed. My dad is Native and Scottish. My mom is European. I am mixed. I know that. I know that because of the way that I look. I'm also from the North, that I am very palatable on certain stages.
Yeah.
I know that. Like, and Liana was even saying, like recognize where you should stand in that line. Yeah. I understand that. You know, I'm not going to be like, I'm from the res, I'm from blah, blah, blah. I grew up in Eugene. Also, my res is in Tacoma, which is a city, so we're fucking urban no matter what, bitch. Yeah. But, anyway, yes. And then, so I think one of my friends that worked at UIC said I was on that list for like a hot minute. And then I was taken off like right away because I think maybe somebody did like a little bit of research, maybe. Yeah. But yeah, so I think that's really interesting. And, you know, that twinge will always be there in some people's minds, I'm sure. That they'll, like, some people who are just haters will hate no matter what. But I grew up in my community. I grew up raised that way. Like, these are my stories. Like, I take language classes. I know our creation stories. I know, like, that's very much, like, a part of who I am as a person. Yes. I didn't take a fucking 23andMe.
No.
And then decide that this is what I'm, this is what I am. Yeah. Like, no, I've known that since I was born. So it's just really, it's really interesting, but it is extremely problematic at the same time. People who aren't Native and claim to be. And one story that's been out in the news a lot, especially in social media, that I've always found interesting and have known since I was a little kid, was that a ton of people that are enlisted in like the Cherokee tribe, for example, are not actually blood lineage. Yeah. And I've known that since I was a kid, and now there's more information coming out about the people entering the Dawes rolls, which is your neck of the woods. Mm-hmm.
I mean, Governor Stitt, the governor of Oklahoma, you know, you could pay to get into to get the card. You could pay $5 back in the day, to be enrolled, into certain tribes,
and
for the benefits,
and right, because it's like, a lot of our blood quantum is tracked because it's tied to a monetary value. Yeah. Like per caps and like all that shit. Yeah. So it's so fucking complicated.
I also just feel like, as like someone who is Cherokee and from Oklahoma, not enrolled because I'm a Skokie, so I got to choose one or the other. But on
so if you want to fact check, just know.
But on my laminated card, my CDIB, because you know I've got my Creek enrollment card, and then there's your CDIB. It says Creek/Cherokee. They let me put a slash in there, so I'm not so like just for my CDIB though. Yeah. Nice. Certificate degree of Indian blood, my pedigree.
Yes, CDIB.
But those of you who have maybe heard lore, oh, my great grandma said that someone was Cherokee. Probably a story. Probably a little tale that might not be true. So don't just come into spaces with your full chest proclaiming how your great-great-grandmother you heard was a Cherokee princess.
It's so cringe.
Because if you look, the Cherokees I know in Oklahoma, they know they're Cherokee.
Mm-hmm. But also, bro, like that whole fucking stereotype, like my Cherokee princess, the Dawes rolls are so detailed. If you're fucking Cherokee, you can find that shit out, bro.
It's the easiest one to fucking look up.
Find it out.
That one you can look up.
Also, you should know. You should know from who you know, you know.
Like I'm sorry. Like it again, there are these instances, and because of the way that assimilation, genocidal tactics, colonization, all of this has panned out, like there are definite missing links in people's backgrounds and identities, particularly with like freedmen and you know enslaved people who were
like.
That was also part of her list. Was
mostly
which is so harmful,
so anti-black, so
and nuanced too. Like gosh, like.
Greek people, enslaved people.
So yeah, basically we hate the Pretendian List.
I don't fucks with that. I don't fucks with police.
But we also don't like Pretendians.
But we don't actually like actual Pretendians.
I also think that give us the like agency to be able to like sniff this out in our own communities if people are like interloping and infiltrating. Because like I feel like in our brushes with people who maybe have appeared on the list or like none of that even like that's not why we clock problematic people. Like it kind of like comes out.
It naturally comes
out because we like
that shit will rise to the top. And I think like what we were talking about the person earlier, that person was becoming problematic.
Yes, they were
in many different ways.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And turned out to actually be a pretendian.
I mean, yeah, their appearance on that list is not why like our collective dissolved or why those relationships ended. It was
also be like in the public eye, like people think that the people in the public eye are the ones that are running the show because you're accessible, when it's like a giant team of people working on something. And so that person was very much a public person, and they were like, they're the leader,
and the ego that drove that energy. So yeah. Points were made.
Yeah. I feel like that is like also. I think that's I'm like a little curious. I wonder who asked that. Who's trying to stir the pot?
I love your messy questions.
We love messy questions. I almost feel like that's like messy enough of a question that like so it could almost just like. Be asked.
It's its own.
Yeah, it could be asked again
episode.
and again. I'm like, I'm interested to know, like, what does Indian country really think about this?
Should I just add it to every conversation I have on every episode?
I mean, if people are willing to,
but I don't want to give that person extra.
I know, right?
Yeah,
clicks or
totally.
That's like part of it too, right? Is like we're giving that person that energy, our time, our energy. And like I love what you said early on. It's like, do we want to talk about that? Because that's what is great about having a platform is that you can choose to who you want to uplift,
right?
And this episode was specifically to uplift relative arts, which I think we did.
Yeah,
and I am so happy that we had this time together. I'm gonna let you guys go. Because I'm like, but I could go on forever. Oh, actually,
are we gonna smoke joints and drink wine?
Oh my god, I smoked so many joints tonight. I was like, and I smoked so many cigarettes. I bought cigarettes last night, you guys.
I needed one so bad when I got home, and I was like, fuck, I smoked them all. No.
I lost my weed pen on the way here.
Are you serious? That's the only reason I'm with you right now.
Girl.
Well, you guys need to go buy one.
I am.
Cookies is nearby.
I am beside myself on how I'm pretty sure I just threw
Janish meeting.
Yes.
So
shout out another great podcast, Sage Based Wisdom, meeting, and Brian Boggy.
Yes. Gianna like came and hung out at the shop one day, and we were having a grand old time. And she introduced us. She's like, "You can come to Relative Arts. It usually smells like weed."
Yeah.
We're like, yeah.
Yes.
Hello. It's medicine, bruh.
And all of New York smells like weed.
Yeah.
First of all,
yeah.
like literally all of New York smells like weed, and I like that. Yeah. I love that for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you guys continue doing what you're doing. People, when you come to New York, visit Relative Arts, buy anything you can or support any way you can. You guys are inspiration. I thank you so much. And from your relatives in New York. See you soon, cousins.
Hoi. Hisko titiam.
Smile you later.
And there you have it. If you would like to leave a listener letter, aka a text, you can go directly to our podcast page on any of the DSPs, and there will be a link to send me a text, and I will read it and I will present it to my future guests, and we will attempt to answer and satisfy all your messy, hungry needs. This show is created and hosted by me, Amy Farid. The intro and outro song is by Jason Gaetano, and my logo design is by Daniela Ritku. Thanks for listening.